Hello everyone, this is Justin, and today we are going to cover the ongoing Yemen civil war in 5 minutes. The war first started back in 2011 during the Arab Spring, a series of anti-government protests and rebellions in the Middle East. In Yemen, anti-government forces removed the authoritarian leader at the time, Ali Saleh, and replaced him with his deputy, a Sunni Muslim called Abdrabu Hadi. However, the new leader Hadi was unable to unite the country and failed to combat major structural issues like food insecurity and corruption. The growing frustrations with the new administration and its inadequacies fractured the country. 3 years later, in 2014, the Houthi Shia rebel movement, comprised of rebels, Saleh loyalist forces, and Iranian support, took over the capital city of Yemen and forced Hadi into exile. Suddenly, nervous at having a Shia-controlled neighboring country, Saudi Arabia, backed by many Sunni nations and Western support, now led a military coalition to defeat the Houthi rebels and reinstall Hadi into power. Before continuing, we need to first understand why this domestic civil war turned into an international disaster. That is to say, why does Saudi Arabia care so much about the internal politics of Yemen that they are willing to fight in someone else's civil war? We will look at this from two perspectives. First, a religious divide between the Sunnis and Shias, and second, from a security standpoint. Similar to how Christianity is divided into segments, for example, Catholics and Protestants, Islam is also divided between the Sunnis and Shias. The beginning of this split began way back when Prophet Muhammad, the founder of Islam, passed away. When deciding who should become the next leader, the majority of Muslims, the Sunnis, wanted to choose someone from the community of Muslims who was best capable of leading them, kind of like a democratic vote. However, a small minority, the Shiites, believed that succession should stay within the Prophet's family, kind of like a royal monarchy where power stays in the family. Moreover, this was a question of authenticity. Could someone outside of the Muhammad family lead the Muslim community with the same authenticity and faithful interpretation as Muhammad did? These fundamental questions fractured the Islamic society, and now leading us back to Saudi Arabia. As a Sunni state, Saudi Arabia fundamentally rejects Shia leadership, which is why they have such a tumultuous relationship with Iran, a Shia-led state. This is an issue of societal interpretation, a principled issue about how society should be governed, and specifically how the Quran, the Holy Bible of Islam, ought be interpreted. If Yemen were led by Shias, this would further delegitimize the Sunnis and consequently Saudi rule. Similarly, if Yemen became a Shia state, this would threaten the national security of Saudi Arabia for two reasons. First, imagine during the Cold War if the US had a communist neighboring country. Oh wait, they did, Cuba, and that led to the Cuban Missile Crisis. It's the same idea. The presence of an antagonistic force right near their border is likely to increase tensions and potentially break out into war. But secondly, Saudi Arabia also has a small Shia minority population inside the country. A Shia-led Yemen may want to undermine Saudi Arabia by enabling these groups of people to fight against the state, creating a domestic crisis. As for the war, the Saudi-Yemen conflict has now created one of the largest humanitarian disasters ever. In November 2018, UNICEF described Yemen as, quote, a living hell for children, end quote, saying that every 10 minutes a child is dying due to preventable diseases as a result of the war. Not only has the war created a famine catastrophe, it has also destroyed much of the infrastructure supporting the civilians who live there. So what are the takeaways? Well, first, while the conflict started out as a domestic civil war between the Yemenis people, foreign support on both sides have exacerbated the conflict. Now, thousands of people are dying and thousands more are starving. Second, Saudi Arabia, is interested in this conflict because of religious and security reasons. They do not want to have a Shia-controlled neighbor that could potentially threaten their own nation. And third, unfortunately, there does not seem to be any conclusion in sight. As pessimistic as that sounds, the fighting will likely continue until one side wins or some sort of ceasefire can be agreed upon. So what should you look out for? Well, just last year, the Saudi-led coalition made a new offensive to try and recapture the Hodeida port, which is a major connection point of humanitarian aid in Yemen. 1 year later, the coalition has already recaptured two important cities. So look out for new military offensives and perhaps new breakthroughs in the fighting. This could potentially be a turning point in the war. But secondly, also look out for if any of the leaders of the Houthi rebel movement try and reach out and respond to diplomatic talks. This could signal a ceasefire, or even better, a willingness to compromise. Thank you everyone for watching this video. If you learned something new and enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe for weekly content, and comment down below if you want to see me cover a specific topic.